What exactly are emotions, and why do they matter? Emotions are our brain's reaction to changes in our environment, whether internal or external. They alert the body to act in a desired manner in order to prolong our survival and ability to thrive as living beings. To participate in this chain reaction, emotions are interconnected with various areas of the human brain, which are then connected to nerves throughout the body. Let's start at the beginning. How do you perceive external stimuli or changes? As humans, we have 5 senses: taste, touch, smell, sight, and hearing. Each of these avenues of information has a receptor that translates sensory data into electrical signals. These signals then travel through the nervous system into the appropriate areas of the brain. Our brain is made up of 3 main parts: the reptile brain, which is responsible for basic regulatory functions such as temperature and hunger; the mammalian brain, which includes the limbic system or the emotional brain; and our primate brain, also known as the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for logic and reason. Each of these areas is filled with cells called neurons that transmit and translate information from our peripheral nervous system. In the entire brain, there are about 100 billion neurons. Each neuron is connected to about 10,000 others through branches called axons and junctions called synapses. Altogether, there are 100 trillion connections in the brain. So, you see a spider. That visual information travels through the various levels of the eye and onto the retina. After being translated into electrical signals, the information travels along the optic nerve to the thalamus. The thalamus projects along 2 different pathways. It sends basic characteristics, like that the object is small, moved, and has long projections, hence spider-like, directly to the amygdala, which is the part of our brain that produces fear. The more detailed information goes to the visual cortex. The amygdala sends a notification of fear to the hypothalamus to increase heart rate and the neurotransmitter epinephrine, or adrenaline. Due to the adrenaline, you run away from the spider to safety. All of this happens in a matter of milliseconds before we even think. Shortly after, the complete information that was processed in the cortex arrives at the amygdala, revealing that the spider wasn't a spider at all. Even though the information was initially incorrect, the quick reaction did its job. It allowed you to protect yourself as fast as possible. Positive emotions follow a much less urgent route. If you pet a puppy, signals from your skin receptors travel through the nervous system, the thalamus, and to the somatosensory cortexes in your brain. The signals say that the dog is soft, and then a few milliseconds later that it is warm. That information travels to the ventral tegmental area, which releases the neurotransmitter dopamine to the nucleus accumbens, which is your brain's reward center. This dopamine brings you joy and tells many parts of your rational and emotional brains that you should repeat this experience. The senses are responsible for many of our emotions, but what about internal catalysts? Due to the interlinking of the brain across the reptile, mammal, and primate layers, our own thought processes can influence our emotions. An example of the combination of these facets is the feeling of nostalgia, a bittersweet emotion that occurs when looking fondly on the past. Nostalgia is rarely triggered by physical stimuli, but instead by thought processes. The prefrontal cortex produces thoughts such as, "I'm going to die someday," or "I am all alone," that trigger increases in some neurotransmitters and hormones like CRH, and decreases in others like dopamine and serotonin. It doesn't matter that these thoughts may not be true or even relevant, but they can start a chain reaction that overtakes the brain just as strongly as our senses. We then turn to our memories, particularly ones that are steeped in positive emotion to improve our mood. The hippocampus, which is responsible for cementing short-term memory into long-term, is located within the limbic system. This close proximity to the centers of our emotion, as well as the olfactory bulb, allows for a strong relationship between emotions, lasting memory, and the senses, especially smell. Imagine, then, that you smell roses while feeling sad. Suddenly, you are back at your childhood home, with your mom planting roses in the front yard. The aroma triggered the refiring of the same neurons that were active that day, effectively playing the memory. Due to the hippocampus, The experiences of sights, sounds, and even happiness you felt are bundled as the episode that you are watching right now. Thus, information travels in a loop, your emotions influencing your thoughts, which in turn influence your emotions, and so on. This cycle allows specific emotions, which last only seconds, to transition into more general moods that can last days. Humans are so incredible because our emotions go beyond simple reactions. Our abilities of understanding and valuing the feelings of others and thinking rationally allow us to exist in societies and have relationships. No other creature has exhibited this complexity and duality in emotion and rationality that combined create our visible selves.